Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Shannon Blanchard podcast. I am your girl, Shannon, and in today's episode, we are wrapping up our sustainability series. In this series, I have talked about how to market yourself and get in front of your dream clients, how to consistently bring in dream leads that you cannot wait to work with. And then today, we're going to talk about sustainable income. This is one of my favorite topics. I love to talk about income, and I'm going to get into why. But if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, make sure that you listen to those, because here's the reality. The foundation of bringing in sustainable income requires that you are consistently getting in front of dream clients and bringing in leads. You have to be doing those things consistently in order to continue to bring in revenue. So that's why marketing and lead gen are parts 1 and 2 of this series. Now, getting into today's topic of sustainable income, it really is my desire that you will walk away from this episode feeling empowered to create sustainability in your income and to understand that you can create sustainable revenue in your business. You can sustainably bring in the income that you desire. So I want to go back for a moment to the spring, summer of 2021. I had recently started my business, had some clients, and I onboarded a client who would end up hiring and firing me like 3 times. And I was not the only virtual assistant that she did that to. She had done that already to multiple other people. And I will just say, she was not a bad client. I loved working with her. She was a great person. We are still friends online. I loved her. But the truth is that her hiring and firing me was a disservice to me and my business. To suddenly find out within just a couple weeks' notice that you are losing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in your revenue is really tumultuous. And then on top of that, I also would sometimes have clients who would ask to pause their contract for like a month or 2 at a time. And so I realized pretty early on in my business that if I did not create the infrastructure to have sustainable income, it's not going to just magically happen, right? And so that's part of why I'm really passionate about talking about these topics and how to generate sustainable income in your business, because it's important that you understand that you don't have to ride that wave of getting clients, losing clients, and never knowing how much money you're going to make the next month. You don't have to live in that reality. And the other thing that I will just say is I think that so many entrepreneurs, right, we just feel like our income is this thing that's outside of us. And we're sort of at the will of how many leads am I going to get this month and who's seen my content, and we'll see if I can sign somebody. And it feels like something outside of you, external to you, that you cannot control. And what I want you to understand as we get into this episode is I just want to invite you to have this vision of yourself as the dream CEO that you want to be, somebody who is confidently running her business. She knows where her income is coming from. She knows it's sustainable, and she knows that she can create the results that she desires, because that is possible for you. In my business, when I implemented the things that we're going to talk about, it was a night and day difference. And it actually inspired several of my other friends at the time who were other virtual assistants and online service providers. They ended up implementing some of the things that we're going to talk about too, because sustainable income is the way to go. Okay. So I have 3 different things that you can implement to create sustainability in your income. And then I also have a piece of sort of embodiment, mindset work that I want to talk about that I think is really important in this conversation of income and sustainable income. So with all that being said, let's dive into the first thing I want to talk about. The first thing we're going to chat about are your offers, and specifically how to create offers that will cater to the varying levels of your ideal client's needs. So when I talk about an offer, this is just any way in which you package up your services, whether it is deliverables based, it's time based, whatever it might be. However you package up your services is your offer. Now, it's ideal to have an offer suite that has more than just one offer in it, because that's going to give you more opportunity to bring in revenue. That's part of why this is necessary for creating sustainability. But I will just say right off the bat, if you're still in the beginning stages, don't feel like you need to have it all figured out all at once. This is something you can implement over time, especially if you are still you're establishing yourself and your business. it's not a good idea to try and put out too many offers at once. That can actually be a hindrance. So just know that this is something that can be implemented over time. Now let's map out how to create a great offer suite that's going to be desirable to your ideal clients. And we're going to go through this actually working backwards from your most high ticket signature offer. And we're going to use that to create a couple other offers that can help you bring in more cash flow into your business. Now, one thing I see a lot is people will take their high ticket offer that has, every single service they offer within it, and they essentially just butcher that into a bunch of smaller offers. And that does not work. Inevitably, it's really hard to get sales from that because you want to create offers that are based on your ideal client's needs. So the way I want you to think about creating smaller offers is not just how you can divvy up your largest premium offer into smaller packages, but thinking about, okay, looking at this signature offer I have, my premium offer. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth with that wording. They're interchangeable to me. So signature, premium offer, whatever you want to call it, it's your highest ticket offer, okay? So look at that high ticket offer, and I want you to think about what are all of the problems that I am solving with this offer. And it's going to be a lot. Like it might take a while for you to actually sit down and write out every single problem that you are solving, because that's a whole point with your high ticket offer. It's doing a lot. But I want you to look at all of the problems that you are solving, and then you're going to pinpoint a few of the key, most prominent problems that you are solving. And those are each going to become their own offers. So to give you an example of this, my signature program, Lucky Day, it's my 8-week course and high touch one-on-one mentorship experience where I help you start and scale the business that changes your life, right? That offer has everything I could do is in that offer. But when I was thinking about, okay, how can I create something that is lower ticket that will help me bring in more revenue and serve more people than just the people who want the all-in experience? What I did not do is just think, okay, well, I could just take unit 1, which is about foundations and strategy, and just create that as its own offer. Or, okay, I could just pick out this section about how to scale your business, and that's its own offer. I looked at what are the most prominent problems I'm solving. And part of that for me, because I had, experience working with students, is I thought about what are the things I'm constantly hearing people complain about, or I hear them constantly say, this was my favorite part of Lucky Day. Like I learned so much from this. This really helped me. And then I used that information to pinpoint, okay, one of the biggest problems that I'm solving is creating content. Literally every single person who comes to me, they always talk about how fearful they are of creating content. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to talk about. How am I supposed to create content that's going to get me clients? How do I do this? And from there, I created Infatuated. And Infatuated is my mini program that's about creating content that your dream clients will fall in love with, that will help you actually convert your audience into clients. So I'm talking through this example because, as I was saying, something I see a lot is people will come to me and they will say, okay, here are my 3 different offers. And all it is they took the premium offer with everything and they just broke it into sections, and they said, okay, lower tier, medium tier, you get some of my services, and then smallest tier, you get barely anything. Like you get a few different services, and the idea is I want to incentivize people to be on my most premium package. I want them to see that's really where the value is. But the problem is that the 2 other offers you're creating there aren't actually solving any problems. And so, of course, nobody wants those, and you are leaving potential money on the table. So instead of thinking about how can I just divvy up my services into different categories, I want you to think about your ideal client's problems, the key things that you are solving, and find within those problems you're solving which ones can stand on their own as their own offer. Now, we're going to talk about pricing as its own topic within this conversation today, but I will just say that when you are creating these other offers that are solving problems for your ideal clients, it's a good idea to have a low ticket, a medium ticket, and then, of course, you have your high ticket offer that is your all-in signature offer. Now, when I say low ticket, that's going to honestly vary so much depending on what your high ticket is. I will say for a lot of online service providers, high ticket is somewhere $900 a month and above. Medium ticket is going to probably be somewhere around $400, $500, $600, and then low ticket is anything like $300 and under. So that kind of gives you a framework of, okay, I've got this high ticket offer that, costs this much per month. How can I find one problem that I can solve that would fit really well within the medium ticket range, and something that could be really easy but really valuable that will just go in the low ticket offer? That's going to be very, very low lift for you, because it's important to consider the fact that when we're talking under $300 a month, the take home pay from that is so little. And so I don't want you to create low ticket offers that are you undercharging and over delivering. So some things I want to say about creating these other offers is just to play around with them. Have fun with them. Your offer suite can shift and evolve. I think, like we talked about, having the low to high ticket, that's a good thing to keep in mind. It's also fun to consider what kind of seasonal offers you could create. This can be really helpful for you if you have slow seasons, like if your, niche that you work with has slow seasons, let's say over the summer. That's a great time to come out with something that is lower ticket, that maybe isn't ongoing work, that will help people just say yes to working with you, because maybe they're not in a position where it makes sense for them to sign on to something that is ongoing, or to sign on for something that is a big investment every month. What's something that you could offer and say, hey, I'm only opening up 2 spots for this, or hey, I'm just opening this up for the next month. Something that is just kind of fun, exciting. It's something new for you to talk about and market yourself with, and it can be a legitimate solution that your ideal client needs, because a lot of times people want to work with you, but if you only have the all-in offer of like, here's everything I can do for you, a lot of people are just like, well, to be honest, like, I don't need this, and this, and so I don't want to pay that much every single month. I don't need ongoing support. I just need something for the next month or whatever it might be. So play around with low ticket, high ticket, with seasonal things, and then also I think it's great to think about the project-based offers versus ongoing work. If you only have one of those things, find a way to incorporate a different version of that. So maybe you are a virtual assistant who works with your clients on an ongoing basis. You could have a, sort of like a VIP day, or a Pinterest, account setup and optimization offer. It could be a project management setup and audit. Like, just kind of brainstorm about different ways that you can solve problems for your clients. And that will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you in creating sustainability within your income, because you're sort of putting out these different ways that people can work with you and get into your world. And I will just say too that this is also helpful for sustainability from the standpoint that oftentimes when people get a taste of what you have to offer, they're going to want the whole thing. So I would say for my offer Infatuated that I was talking about, I have never calculated the numbers, but a very, very high percentage of the students who have joined Infatuated end up joining Lucky Day. Like, not every single one, but I'm sure it's over 90%. And that's because they see, oh my gosh, this is so helpful. Now I understand how to create content. Like, this is great. I feel so much more confident. Give me that in every other area of my business. Like, they want the whole thing, right? So having the lower ticket investment options or something that's not ongoing is just a great way to give your audience, a taste of what it's like to work with you. And I will just say, something I'm thinking about as I'm talking about this is the fact that it's really important that you create these offers from a place of empowerment. And again, not from a place of, well, I feel like I have to have a low ticket offer because who's really going to pay me, $1,000 a month? Like, I'm not worth that. Who would do that? So I have to find something. No, cut that shit out right now. Okay. That is not the perspective. We are creating the low ticket, mid ticket offers. We are creating these different ways of people to work with you, to allow that connection, to serve more people, right? It's about serving people. It's about creating opportunity for your income. That's a perspective I want you to think about. And just like I was saying, have fun with it. Like, this is legitimately, I love brainstorming offers with people. It's fun. It's so fun. So like just approach it with that mindset. This is just a good time for me to tell you, I'm going to wrap this up in 10 seconds. You only have, when you're listening to this, maybe a few days left to get inside Lucky Day. So please join if you want help starting and scaling the business that changes your life. Depending on when you're listening to this, either get in this May 4th round that is about to kick off, or get on the wait list for the next round. In 2026, after this May 4th round, there will only be one more. So get on the wait list if you want to work together and start your dream business. Okay, now let's talk about the second topic for creating sustainable income, and that has to do with working on a retainer baby. Oh, I love talking about this. Remember the client I told you about who was constantly hiring and firing me? Shout out to her, because her doing that actually has resulted in me making a lot of money, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. It's sort of a funny story. But if you're not familiar with working on a retainer means that instead of a client signing on to work with you month to month, they are signing on to work with you for, let's say, 3 or 4 months, even 6 months you can do at a time. It's whatever chunk of time you choose, but they are signing on to work with you for that amount of time, and it's going to continue to automatically renew for that chunk of time. So you never are working on a month-to-month basis. You are always working on 3 months at a time or 4 months at a time, and it just continues, like I said, automatically. Now, why it is so beneficial and honestly important to be working on a retainer is, for one thing, whenever you're working on an ongoing basis with a client, I don't care what you are doing. If it is social media management, if it's Pinterest management, if it's virtual assistant services, OBM, whatever, it is important to work with that client for a good chunk of time before you're going to start to see the best results that are possible, right? Like you can't just hop onto somebody's social media account and have them going viral and gaining followers within 2 weeks. It takes time to implement things and for your clients to really be able to see the full scope of the results that you can provide and the transformation that you can create for them. So it's important from that standpoint to protect your work in that way, to say, hey, if you want to work with me, I'm only willing to do it if you're going to sign on for 3 months at a time, because that's how I know I can give you the results that you need. If you just work with me for 1 month, the truth is you're not going to see the full transformation, and then you're going to think that I couldn't provide on that transformation, and that's just not the case. It also helps you to weed out clients who are not very serious about working with you long term and actually having you as a member of their team. Because the kinds of clients who don't want to work with you long term are oftentimes just really unrealistic in terms of what they are looking for and what they want. So like I said, it helps to weed out clients that are not a good fit for you. But the other thing that's really beneficial is you're not going to end up in the situation I was in with that client, where with just 2 weeks notice, you're in a situation where you are losing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month in revenue. I actually shared this story in one of my early episodes that's about my journey as an entrepreneur. And I talked about how at one point, this was further on in my business, but at one point I lost more than $3,000 a month in revenue, basically all at once, because I had 2 big clients end their, contract with me. At that point in my business, I had been working on retainers. So thank God, because if I had lost $3,000 a month, it was more than 50% of my revenue. If I had lost that with 2 weeks notice, that would have been devastating for me. Thankfully, I had months to find new clients, which I did. I ended up booking more clients and I was able to start replacing that income. So that is part of the beauty, is you're not going to end up in a situation where you are just absolutely screwed financially. So the way that you can implement this in your contract is just put in a section that explains that you work in monthly terms of, let's say, 4 months at a time. It can be whatever amount of time you want, but 3, 4, and 6 months are most common because obviously it fits really well within the calendar year. But just put in your contract that you work on monthly terms of X number of months and that the contract will automatically continue to renew for that period of time moving forward. So if you say, I work in 4-month terms. At the end of 4 months, it's automatically renewed for another 4 months. And then you just have to explain what your notice requirement is. I recommend 30 days so that they, again, can't just give you 2 weeks notice and you're losing all of that income. And if they don't give you notice within 30 days of the next term starting, that means that the next term automatically is going to renew. So that way you have time to replace that income and find more clients. If you're like, girl, I'm not understanding, I'm not getting this, just check out, I actually sell this contract template on my site. I created it with my lawyer and it comes with a video explaining it. It's by far, I think it's funny. In my Lucky Shop on my site, where I have different, digital resources, the contract template is by far the majority of my sales on there. And that's why I joke that like the client who hired and fired me has actually made me a lot of money because I ended up creating that contract for myself. And then eventually I ended up selling it on my website. So if you want, you can check it out on the Lucky Shop. But now let's get into the juiciest topic of all, which has to do with your pricing. Okay, so we need to have you guys like an assembly right now. Like, hello, welcome to the Shannon Blanchard podcast. We are having an assembly right now to talk about your pricing. And we have to talk about some of the things that might be happening, below the surface that are resulting in you not bringing in the income that you want, not bringing in sustainable income, and so on. When it comes to pricing, I view pricing as a practice. So in the same way that you might have a meditation practice, a mindset practice, whatever, pricing is a practice. It is something that you do to keep stretching yourself and growing and expanding. And pricing specifically is a practice to me because it's an opportunity for you to continue to grow and expand in your sense of self-worth, to expand in what you are willing to ask for, having the audacity to ask for a lot. It's an opportunity to expand how much you feel comfortable receiving. So pricing is a practice that exists throughout the entirety of your business. And I see so many women really struggle with this because a lot of times they will become stagnant with their pricing. They will just plateau. They will kind of land at an hourly rate or like a monthly rate where getting up to that point felt pretty comfortable. But now going beyond that, it's like, oof. No, girl, I can't do it. I'm so scared. I can't ask for more. I asked for more once and one person said no to me, so I can never do it again. And oftentimes there is this sensation of, I feel bad charging more. I feel bad asking for more. And it makes me really sad because what happens is that you consistently attract clients who will reflect back to you the value that you see within yourself and your offers. So if you say, guys, I'm only worth this much, I can't go above it, this is the max capacity of the value that I have to offer, you're going to attract clients who affirm that and say, yes, okay, you're worth that, yes. But you will never have a client randomly come up to you and say, hey, you know what? I actually want to pay you $300 more per month, right? Like that's not going to happen. And it's because it all starts with you. It starts with you deciding and saying, I am worthy of increasing my rates. I am worthy of charging this much money. I'm worthy of getting to the monthly income that I desire. And then when you have made that decision from a place of conviction, then you attract those clients who are like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course I will pay you thousands of dollars a month. Like, of course I'm going to pay that because what you're doing is absolutely worth it. You will attract people who will reflect back to you the value that you see in what you're offering. So it's important to understand that when I'm talking about this and talking about increasing your rates, it is coming from a place of conviction of I am worthy. I am worthy of charging more. I am worthy of bringing in the income that's going to support me and my family abundantly. So when we talk about creating rates that will support sustainability within your business, what we're not aiming for is setting rates that will feel like a good deal. to your potential clients. They're going to be like, oh, great, I got a steal on this offer. We're not talking about something that is going to feel like you are settling. You don't want to create offers that are going to have you thinking, I think I could get somebody who would pay me this. Like, this actually feels realistic, but it's also not honoring my time, my effort, the value I bring to the table. I feel like I'm settling. It doesn't feel good. You want to aim for rates that honor your time, effort, the value you bring to the table, and you want to consistently raise your rates. So for raising your rates consistently, this is going to depend on your offer structure. Maybe it's once every quarter or 6 months or something. You review all of your offers and your pricing and you update things. That's probably best for you if you work on a project basis. If you work on an ongoing basis with clients, my recommendation is that you are raising your rates in between every single one of your clients. Because when you work with people on an ongoing basis, it's really hard to scale your business if you weren't raising rates in between every single client. So something I see a lot is people will get stuck at $50 an hour. I don't know what it is about $50 an hour. It is the most common thing. People come to me and they're like, I'm booked out. I have so many clients. Like, this is great, but I'm not making enough money because I'm only charging $50 an hour for like my last 4 clients. And now they're in this situation where they don't have more time to bring on a new client. And so how do they increase their revenue? So that's why it's important to think about this before you get in that situation and push yourself. Again, it is a practice. It's not something that's always going to feel really comfortable, but just push yourself to keep increasing your rates. Now, when it comes to your prices themselves, I want you to price your offers from a place of empowerment, from knowing I am that girl. Like, excuse my French, I am that bitch, okay? I know that I can do this. I am ready. I am this version of me. And these are the rates that feel empowering to me, that really honor me. You want to make the decision from truly your body resonating with the rates, as opposed to trying to make the decision with your mind. And here's how you can tell the difference between making the decision to set your rates from your mind, as opposed to setting your rates from a place of alignment and resonance within your body. When you are setting your rates from your mind, you're likely going to feel a lot of fear around your ability to get clients. You're going to feel inadequate. There's going to be desperation and likely a lot of urgency. And so you're going to be thinking, like your mind is just going all the time thinking about, okay, well, will somebody really pay this much? And what are my competitors charging? And you're trying to come up with rates that feel really logical and reasonable. Like those are the keywords I would use, is logical and reasonable. When, however, you are setting your rates from a place of empowerment, you know in your body what rate feels right for you. You will know because you feel a sense of this is honoring. It doesn't mean that it might not feel a little bit scary and a little bit like this is stretching me, but we're not going all the way to, oh my gosh, this is crazy and I do not think anyone will pay me this. You will find and land on a rate where you think this feels really honoring of the effort that I am putting forth and what I'm delivering on, and I feel that it honors my client as well. You will feel like this feels like a good exchange. That's what you are looking for. So with your pricing, it's not about following an exact formula, do this and then increase by 10% every blah, blah, blah. It's important that you learn how to tune into your body to find the pricing that feels resonant and right for you. Okay, now I want to have a little heart-to-heart moment, just an honest chat with you. One girl to another, okay? When it comes to talking about pricing and rates and bringing in sustainable income in your business, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, you can bring in the income that you desire. I know you can bring in sustainable income all on your own through your online business. I have done it for years. I see it over and over. I know what is possible in the online space. I know you can make it happen. And whenever I talk about pricing and income, I am somebody who, let me give you the astro breakdown for 5 seconds. I'm a Virgo rising, okay? Practical. I have a Taurus Venus, and then I have my Jupiter and Capricorn, and these all trine each other. I have an Earth grand trine. girl, I am strategy. Steps 1, 2, and 3. I want it broken down. I want the plan. I love to talk through grounded, practical things that you can do in your business, especially because I just feel like that's really hard to find from coaches in the online space. Like, they're not actually telling you how to do things. I want to give you that information, but it's really important to me that you understand 2 things. The first thing is that you can do all the strategy in the world. You can implement every single method. You can do things however you want. But at the end of the day, it is so important that you make the decision that you're going to bring in the income that you want and the revenue that you want. And you will not stop until it happens. It is a decision that you have to make. It is so easy to stay in the stories we have told ourselves our entire lives that we can't make that much money. It's not possible. Who am I to ask for that much? Well, I didn't grow up with money, so I'm not. It is easy to think I have to solve every single, subconscious limiting belief. I have to do all of the methods perfectly. All of these things that we get trapped in. I'm telling you, and I love some of these methods myself, but just bear with me in what I'm talking through right now. Let them all go. At the end of the day, it is a decision you make. And when you make a decision with conviction, there is nothing and no one that can stand in your way. When you say, I am going to build a 6-figure business, or I am going to hit 5K months, whatever it is for you that you are looking to create, and you say, I will do whatever I need to do. I know it will happen for me. Nobody can stop me. That's the reality that you create. That gets reflected back to you. So I want to encourage you to make the decision with conviction that you can create the results that you want. But I also want to say with that you can't mess it up. When you make that decision, you cannot do anything wrong. I don't care if you never implement any of these methods that I talk about today. If you made the decision that you're going to make sustainable income, I believe it will happen for you. I don't care if you implement 3 different strategies and you do them all 50%, really crappy, you implement things in an awful way. If you believe that you are going to create sustainable income for yourself, you can't mess it up. It's going to happen. So we have the strategies. We talk about the methods. We talk about these practical things. Nothing gets around the fact that you have to make the decision with conviction that you're going to get what you want, that you can create those results, and that you just can't get it wrong. I wanted to talk about this today because for such a long time, I felt really trapped in, oh my gosh, I have to change every single belief I have. And I was investigating everything that I felt like I had carried with me from, my parents and from childhood. And I would constantly question like, oh, well, if I do this, am I doing it wrong? If I do this, does that mean that I believe I'm not going to make them? Everything just became like this internal test for me. And it's a miserable way to live. And it's such an illusion because there is no test. You don't need to do everything absolutely perfectly. You just have to believe that it can happen and it will happen. It is happening for you. And every single action that you take from that place is the right action. Nothing means anything that you don't decide it means. So if you implement all of the things that we talked about today and you give it 2 weeks, a month, and nothing is coming from it, right? Your income has not become more sustainable. You can decide, oh, that means that these things didn't work. That means sustainable income is impossible for me. I'm not meant to do this. Or you can just say, I'm doing it. I'm on my way. I'm making it happen. It's actively unfolding in front of me right here, right now, because I have decided I am the woman with sustainable income. So I hope that all of that makes sense and is resonating with you. I just want to encourage you and inspire you. Like, you can do this. You are no less capable than I am. And I changed my life within a matter of months of starting my business. You are no less capable than I am. You can do this. The reason you have the desire in your heart to make money online, to make money for yourself, to be your own boss, is because you're meant to do it. The desire has been put in your heart so that you'll act on it and create that in the world. All of that is just a message from my heart to yours. It may resonate with you, it may not. I trust, because this always happens for me, The girls who are meant to hear the message from me always hear it. But with all of that being said, our little chitty chat out of the way, let's go through a quick audit and then we'll wrap things up for today's episode. Okay, so first thing in our audit is I want you to take a look at your offers and ask yourself, how can I create an offer suite that will cater to the varying levels of my ideal client's needs? The second thing I want you to look at is your contract. If you are working with clients on an ongoing basis, are you working with a retainer? And if not, how can you implement that? Put it in your contract right away and get your clients on an ongoing retainer so that you can create sustainability through your income in that way. And then the last piece was your pricing. So I want you to take a look at your pricing at all of your rates. And without going automatically to your mind, I want you to just look at the price, look at what you are offering for that price, and ask your body, like, how does this feel to me? Does this feel honoring to me? And if not, what is a rate that would feel really honoring of the exchange that I am creating with my clients? If you've been here for the whole series, you have the full picture of how you can get in front of your dream clients sustainably, how you can bring in those leads consistently, and how to create that sustainability within your revenue. I hope and pray that this series has really served you. Sustainability is one of my biggest passions and what I talk about and what I teach to my students, because I don't just want you to start any business. I don't want you to just get any clients. I want you to build your luckiest life. And that means having a business that's going to go the distance for you and that is really going to bring in the income that you want, that is going to support you and support the life that you desire. So I really hope and pray that this has been helpful for you. As a reminder, this is your last chance to get in Lucky Day. This next round kicks off on May 4th. This is for you if you are ready to start your own online business, okay? If you are listening to this and May 4th, 2026 is already passed, please check out the waitlist to get on the next round. I'm only going to have one more round in 2026. So get on the waitlist. And if you would be willing, I would appreciate so much if you would follow, rate the show, subscribe. It truly is so helpful for me and meaningful to me to have your engagement. It really helps me get this podcast in front of more people. Thank you again so much for being here. I appreciate you. I believe in you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.